Yo, what is up everybody, and welcome back to another F1 2020 My Team video. We are getting ready for race 21 and race 22 of the 2020 Formula 1 season. We are doing both of the last two races of the 2020 campaign in this video. So we're going to be doing the Brazilian Grand Prix, and then after that the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix in the same video. So first things first, we are at Brazil, and we are coming off of quite the surprising victory in Mexico. Surprising not just because we put our Cookie Monster in first place, but because we did it pretty effortlessly. We were one of the fastest cars all weekend long. We just nabbed the pole from Charles Leclerc, and when race day came, we were just a little bit faster than the Ferrari of Leclerc and the Red Bull of Verstappen, and were able to get the victory. So is the difficulty too easy is the first question we have to ask. But when we come to Brazil, it turns out that maybe Mexico is just one of my better racetracks, just like the way I was talking about how I like the Russian Grand Prix a lot, the Russian racetrack, driving it. Maybe Mexico is just, you know, one of my specialty racetracks for whatever reason. Because we come to Brazil, our projected qualifying pace is P7, which is really good, but at this point, the Cookie Monster is a legitimate midfield contender. And you see Carlos Sainz is putting in consistent laps in practice. He got a P10 in that last race in Mexico, so this Cookie Monster is capable of scoring points from a capable driver like Carlos Sainz. It's not like we have Mazepin in the car anymore, you know? Shout out to Mazepin, by the way, because that dude looks like he's actually getting an F1 seat in real life. He's about to pay for the Haas seat. We'll just pretend like he paid for the Cookie Monster seat, right? That's how we got our funding to start off. I don't know. Just make pretending a storyline. Either way, we have pretty much covered off all of the regulation changes. We got that pretty much out of the way with a race to spare. So that's good on us. We are going to have our part survive into the 2021 season. Now we can focus on the rest of 2020 and maybe developing one more part before the season's done. And let's see, if anything, just stack resource points for the next season as we get our qualifying lap underway, mounting the curve there. But we've handled that S section pretty well. We are in first place, provisional pole coming down the straightaway, and now reality starts to hit in just a little bit. Unlike the Mexican Grand Prix where we were on pole and it was like, ooh, are we going to actually get pole? Now it's like, whoa, are we going to qualify in the top 10? We come out of that turn P17. We're dropping like a rock. And I'm wondering if everything is okay. Am I just selling on this lap? I don't know what's going on. I don't really know what my strong points and weak points are compared to the AI, but it seems as if these slow parts of the track might actually be suiting us decently. Maybe we just got through the S section better than expected. I don't know. So we come out of this corner now. It's P12. Hamilton, who can clinch the championship with just a decent finish today. It's going to be pretty hard for Lewis to not clinch the championship, really. So we'll keep one eye on that, and one eye on the fact that we have suddenly found our way back into P7. Now it's dropping to P8, P9. Are we going to qualify top 10? I don't think so. Dropping like a rock. P13 as we cross the line, it looks like, and it is, yes, P13 for the Cookie Monster, which I think that last second drop just indicated how close the midfield is, and that's exactly what's happening here. Check out the times between Albon and myself. It's less than 0.2 of a second from 6th place to 13th, and then not too far behind you got Raikkonen, Sainz, and even George Russell and Daniel Ricciardo. So really from 6th place to 17th was under a couple, like half a second or something like that. Outrageous. So this race could be very competitive as far as the midfield battle. So let's go to race day.
Formula One returns to Sao Paulo once again with the stage set for what promises to be another classic Brazilian Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel famously clinched his third championship here in 2012, and in 2016, Max Verstappen treated us to one of the finest wet weather drives of all time. It's an unusual anti-clockwise race here at Interlagos, where the Sao Paulo locals are packed into the grandstands at each of the 15 corners around this classic 2.7-mile circuit. Two very fast sections bookend the famous and highly technical Sector 2, where getting a good run out of Junsao into one of the two DRS zones will be the key to any overtaking prospects today. Anthony Davidson is here once again for today's Grand Prix. Now, let's talk about Charles Leclerc. They've had to change their gearbox. It's never a good start to a Grand Prix when, right off the bat, you have to contend with a grid penalty.
Well, at the end of the day, it's always better to take some pain now than parking it up halfway through the Grand Prix. Let's just hope they can put that new gearbox to good use and get the results they're looking for.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Vettel, Daniel Kvyat and Leclerc. They've taken a grid penalty. Stroll, Norris, Perez and Cook, Raikkonen, Sainz, George Russell and Albon, Ricciardo, Giovinazzi, Esteban Ocon and Kevin Magnussen, Gasly, Mazepin, Grosjean and Nicholas Latifi. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
Despite how gloomy it looks outside and how gloomy it's looked all weekend here in Brazil, I have been assured there is no rain in the forecast. All we have to focus on is our strategy, which is going from softs to hards. We qualified outside the top 10, so we could play alternate as far as tire compounds, but we're just going to be pretty straightforward. We do actually qualify in the top 10 after a couple of grid penalties, so 5 red lights on and 5 red lights out. We're underway. We have our teammate Sainz behind us, but he did not get a good getaway. We are all pretty hot here, and there's really nowhere for us to go, so we tuck behind Stroll and Norris, hoping to beat out Perez through the S section, the Senna S as it's called, and we pretty much abandoned the Senna S, and thankfully we are able to momentarily protect our position. But here comes Perez trying to find some space on the inside. Ricciardo making it 3 wide behind us. It's getting sketchy, and they are still battling it out, and I believe the Alpha of George Russell was the big loser in that exchange. The big winner is, actually it's Kimi Raikkonen, not Ricciardo. I completely forgot that Ricciardo is in the McLaren now, and that's actually Kimi Raikkonen behind us. Either way, an aggressive start from Raikkonen as we are just still stuck behind this Norris and Stroll side-by-side battle. This has been the way it's been since the jump. Surely somebody inches ahead, or else I'm going to try to force my way in this battle, and I think I actually helped decide that 7th place go to the McLaren of Lando Norris. Now that we got them separated, we'll see if we can pick them apart one by one, and that starts with a good run off the final corner, which we kind of get pretty much on par with Stroll. Now we're going to try to use battery and slipstream to our advantage, and I think the amount of battery we're using up right here is working out well for us. Stroll defends the inside. We're going to go outside, but we have Norris ahead of us. How are we going to manage this? How about a 2-for-1 opportunity on the inside of Norris after going to the outside of the racing point of Stroll? Got them both. A textbook move by the Cookie Monsters puts us up into P7 overall, a +3 jump since the start of the race. Both of the racing points now behind us, and we have Norris not too far off. And the way the midfield is so close, contending for these positions early on before the tires wear out is going to be big for us, because track position is important here in Brazil. There's not too many areas to pass, so you know, we got to be aggressive early on, and this might have been a little bit more than aggressive. I kind of went off the track. I was scared if I came on, I would have hit Perez. Thankfully, we didn't have to worry about any of that. We didn't have to give up our position. We're all good. This was just purely survival here. First I had to go on the outside. Stroll put me on the outside, and I was like, hey, I might be able to make this move to the inside. I kind of need to, because I have Stroll right next to me, and thankfully it all worked out. So we fast forward to the 4th lap of the race. You see, we haven't exactly gotten away from Norris. Also, the cars ahead of us, including I would at Leclerc and the Ferrari, both of the Ferraris, in fact, haven't gotten away from us too much either. Oh, but that's Valtteri Bottas on the side, and oh my, Bottas' nightmare season continues, and he brings out a safety car early in the going. This could switch up the strategy here in Brazil. Bottas outweighs yet another mechanical failure in that Mercedes. He has to be wondering what kind of dummy car they're giving him compared to Lewis, because Lewis hasn't exactly been exiting many races lately, even though he did have a rough mid-season. That continues the trend of the top runners in our career mode constantly falling out of races, as we are going to drop into the pits here. Jeff did absolutely nothing as per usual to help me decide whether to make a pit stop or not. I decided on my own that, you know, these tires are already somewhat worn out. 16, 17% on our worst wear percentages. So we're going to chuck on the hard compound tires and see if we can make it to the end of the race. It's going to be a very tall ask. We're going to be trying to go almost 30 green flag laps on one pair of hard compound tires. I don't know how that's going to work out for us, but I figured with the safety car, we might as well take a chance. We were in P7 before the safety car, and it looks like we were joined in the pits by Sebastian Vettel. For once, I don't think Seb got involved in any sort of collision with anybody, and that's not why he's off sequence. But this continues Seb's 2020, where he's constantly off cycle from everybody else due to various different dramas. So we're going to restart in last place amongst all the runners. Botas obviously out, and myself and Vettel are going to have to pick our way through traffic, including both of the Williams behind. So you see I'm lagging behind a little bit to try to gain some momentum, but we might be too far back to dive bomb as we are back under green as we complete 6 laps here in Brazil. But we're going to give it a go. Inside of Vettel, inside of now 1, but 2 Williams. Oh, it's going to be tricky to make this work. But we have fended off Mazepin, our former teammate. Latifi's in the back there as well. And now we have to do our best defensive effort against Mazepin. Just protect the inside. They won't be able to get us. We have slightly fresher tires. We are on the hard compound tires, so I don't know how much faster we'll be than everybody else ahead of us. Pitting for tires is not going to be a huge pace advantage. It's going to be more about track position. Remember, we mentioned track position with the jump in this race. Part of what we're doing right now is just to maintain track position. As you guys know, with the Cookie Monster and the manual shifting we've been doing, we have not been good on long runs. So how we would have fared in that midfield battle, you know, as the laps wound down on those old soft tires, I don't know, and we won't find out for now because we're kind of in our own race. We're running our own strategy. The only player that could be close to us is Sebastian Vettel, but as you guys may have noticed, Seb put on the soft compound tires, so he's just straight up not going to the end of the race because he has to change compounds, and we're just not going soft sauce here in Brazil this early. So we are now slotted in between the Haas cars of Grosjean and Magnussen. Of course, remember, Grosjean is retiring. And as we are in Brazil, it's looking like Grosjean is the only driver dropping off the grid. So everybody else is returning except for Grosjean. There's only one seat open. We'll see how that plays out. We'll see how the silly season commences as we get a run on Kevin Magnussen, who, unlike in real life, will be retaining that Haas seat next season, unless there's some crazy action in the driver transfers. Didn't quite factor that in. He might be going somewhere else, but he is going to be staying in F1, which is not looking likely in real life. But what is looking likely is the fact that we're going to be ahead of Magnussen and stay ahead of Magnussen. We got the pass done. We're all good there, and it's important for us to get by some of these slower cars like the Haas and the Williams, because while we're doing this strategy, we don't want to be stuck behind the slow guys, because look at where the Williams are. Well, you can't see them. That's where they are, as well as Grosjean. They are completely out of the picture because they were just not going that fast. So, you know, we got to make these moves here. Even though we're not racing these guys for position, it's track position we're racing for right now. And you see Sebastian Vettel is also carving his way through this traffic. He, like us, has gotten by both the Haas's, both the Williams. He's going to be working on Giovinazzi next. Meanwhile, we have our eyes up ahead on Gasly and Ricciardo. But those are two of the midfield contenders. Like, the midfield contenders are everybody but Haas and Williams in somewhat. Oh my, Alfa Romeo. Look at Gasly with the aggressive move on the inside of Ricciardo. Ricciardo tried to give him the squeeze. Gasly having none of it. And Pierre moves up to P12. Now we're on the back of what is actually Daniel Ricciardo, not like when I call Kimi Räikkönen on that opening lap. And we actually have a chance to overtake Ricciardo right here, right now, with some DRS slipstream going to the outside using every bit of battery we have left. We're going to try to stick it on the outside, on the curve, and coming out in P13 ahead of Danny Rick. Danny Rick is definitely feeling the effects of these soft tires falling off. We're expecting pit stops anytime now from any car running on the soft compound tire right now, and they might be going a little bit longer because of the safety car we had, a couple laps on the safety car. Otherwise, I think now the pit stop, like the pit cycle sequence, would actually open up. So in the meantime, we're continuing to fight for track position because look how much we're being held up by Gasly. We got to make this move similar to what we did to Ricciardo. We got to use up all our battery like we did with Ricciardo, using DRS, rich fuel mixture, whatever they are supplying, we are using, but it's still not enough to get by Gasly this time around, which is on me a little bit. I didn't set myself up well enough to try to make that pass, and Gasly got a decent runoff. So now we're stuck behind Gasly a little bit longer. We're actually tailing behind Gasly, just, you know. Gasly's actually running pretty good pace. We're in dirty air, so, you know, it's not like we're going to blow by everybody. We don't got a Mercedes to drive, but what does help us is the fact that Gasly did pit, so that gets Gasly out the way for us, and now Ricciardo's actually not too far off of us. That's okay, though. The next car up ahead is Carlos Sainz, who was actually one of the only runners to start the race on a tire compound that was not the softs. He started on the medium, so we'll see how long he goes. We just went in the grass, so that's going to allow Ricciardo to have a monster run at us, and maybe allow Ricciardo to pass us, which is okay. We're not running the same race as Danny Rick. If he wants to pass us, so be it. And that's exactly what happens until Ricciardo locks up going into the first corner. We're off the track. Well, that's going to be a corner cut penalty. That could potentially be an illegal overtake, but looks like the stewards will look the other way on that one. and we maintained P6 over Ricardo, which, you know, I was completely fine with letting Ricardo go. I made the mistake, and I knew Ricardo had to pit any lap now, and he wasn't running that far off the pace. And we're not even worried about Sebastian Vettel, because we know he has to pit. So we're mainly just trying to run our own race, trying to manage our tires, as once again, we're playing with disaster in these Senna S's right now. I think we're actually one corner cut away from getting a penalty, which is not unfamiliar for us. We just came off of getting a penalty 2 races ago in US, so we got to be careful with this one. But what we are going to do now that Ricardo pits behind us and Stroll pits ahead of us, we're going to grab the lead of this race. So we're actually the leader of the Brazilian Grand Prix, and we're actually the legitimate leader of this race, because remember, we're not planning on making another pit stop in this one. We're looking to go the end of the race. So can we nab back-to-back victories? This one will be with some crazy strategy. We have a Haas off the track here, so local yellow, and that's going to be, I believe, Grosjean off the track. Either way, non-factor. Not going to come out with a virtual safety car or complete safety car. We stay green, which is fine by me. The way our race is going, we need to have this gap on the rest of the field. So to come back to the previous question, are we going to win this race? I don't think so, because Lewis is hard charging. We have an entire half of the race to go, and even though we are punching in personal bests right now, that really doesn't mean too much, because Lewis's personal bests behind us are going to be a lot better, and I'm not sure how long we're going to keep Lewis behind us, or even Verstappen, who's not too far off of Hamilton. The Mercedes and the Red Bull are pretty close in the performance chart, and it's showing up in this race. Verstappen is giving Lewis everything he can handle in Brazil, but right now Lewis, he needs to get the job done on us to put a car between himself and Max Verstappen, and Lewis with the fastest lap of the race using DRS and everything he's got in that Mercedes to make the move pretty easy on us. Now our job is to try to stay in DRS range with Lewis as long as we possibly can, just to help our own race. Not to stay ahead of Verstappen exactly, but we just got to, you know, keep up with Lewis. But as soon as we get in this dirty air, it just felt like, you know, night and day difference. Someone put a parachute on the back of our car and we just flew off the track. And just like that, we're pretty much, like, by the time we get to the DRS detector, there's only one at this track for this front straightaway. We're not going to be within 1 second of Lewis Hamilton. In fact, we might not even be ahead of Verstappen. We might be getting DRS from Max Verstappen. I don't think so, because as we've detailed, hard track to pass on. And you see, Verstappen is clearly faster than us, but yeah, we're kind of holding him up. It's interesting to note that Lewis is one of the only runners on the medium tire. Most drivers went from softs to hard, which was our strategy from the jump. And strategy we were supposed to do on like lap 12, not lap 4. So we'll see if Max can actually run down Lewis, see if those mediums wear out, see what Mercedes is doing. Maybe Mercedes just has better tire wear. What I do know is we are no contest for Verstappen. I'm not even fighting the move. We're not going to use battery or anything like that. We're just going to let Max Verstappen by. Fine by me. Once again, we are running our own race. Our race right now is not to, you know, fight people for position. Our race is just to survive and let these tires last to the end of the race. So let's talk about that for a second. It's no guarantee these hard tires are making it to the end of the race. All right, this is a gamble we're taking right now, and it might fall flat on our face. It's just a gamble I'm willing to take since we don't have much to fight for in this season besides trying to get the best finish possible for our team and trying to get prize money and all that stuff. Check out these tires. They're not looking hot at all. Like, now that we have let Lewis and Max Verstappen by, the race has gone for just purely tire management. I spent a couple of laps trying to keep up with Verstappen as long as I could, but that did not do these hard compound tires any favors. And now look at this. The right rear is at 61%, and we still have 10 laps to go in this race. So it can get really bad if we don't hit tire management right now. So that's exactly what happened. As soon as I saw this, I flipped the switch. I'm not trying to keep up with Verstappen anymore. I'm not trying to compete with that and maybe stay ahead of Charles Leclerc. At this point, I'm conceding third place to Leclerc. What I'm focused on right now is we have almost a 12-second gap from us to Danny Kvyat in P5. We're going to try to play with that gap and use all of that gap possible to help us manage our tires. Basically, I don't mind giving up that entire nearly 12-second gap to Daniel Kvyat, because as long as we're saving our tires, that's the main priority. We don't need, it doesn't matter how far we finish ahead of Kvyat, as long as we finish ahead of him, right? It's like saving fuel, except in this case, it's saving whatever thread we have left on this tire. As wow, Leclerc made that a lot more difficult than he needed to, because I literally pulled over to the left side and said, here, have it. I pretty much put on my my hazards. I was like, hey, bro, go. I'm not fighting this at all. And he still nearly ran to the back of us, which really would have really would have pissed me off. That would have been a major issue. And I'm sure it would have pissed off Ferrari, but at the end of the day, that is not an issue we have to worry about. Leclerc is gone. Verstappen and Lewis are long gone. At this point, it looks like it's going to be hard for Verstappen to make a move on Lewis Hamilton, so that's not even our battle anymore. We're not on the same screen as those guys. As we fast forward to 5 laps to go, our battle continues to be with these tires. We are now 70% on the right rear as we cross the line to start 5 laps to go. Now we come to 4 laps to go, right rear is at 73%. Remember, once we get to, I think it's 75, at any point, these tires can explode on us. One of these tires can randomly pop, so we have the right rear officially now at 75%, and we are about to cross the line to start 4 laps to go. And the Cookie Monsters are starting to get nervous. My engineer has called me in to make a second pit stop, which at this point is not in the cards. It is way too late for that. If we pitted about 5 laps ago and we put on the soft tires, yeah, I would have tried to boulder my way through and try to get the best finish possible. But at this point, it's just like, hey, we're either going to get P4 or we're going to die trying, all right? That's just the way it's going to go. It's a gamble that I don't mind taking. At this point, they're calling me in every single lap. Similar to the Bahrain Grand Prix, if you guys remember that. It got pretty bad. It was not even as bad as this. Our tires never got to this percentage, 80%, and we still have 2 laps to go. At this point, I'm literally crapping myself in the car. I'm like, I don't think that we're going to make it. I'm trying my best, but I don't think we're going to make it. We got the right front at 76%, and that might be the bigger concern. The right front's probably got a better chance of blowing than a rear tire, so we really don't want to put pressure on the front tires. But the rears are literally on fire, and at this point, it feels damn near impossible to wheel this car around. I'm not just giving up the gap to Kvyat because I'm giving up the gap on purpose. I'm giving up the gap because I can't do anything more. Also, I'm literally just babying the car home, man. Just taking it easy as I possibly can, man. I'm not trying to press the issue at all. I'm giving away this entire gap, if possible, on the last lap if it doesn't put any strain on the tires. We're going to have to hold our breath for this final last lap and hope it comes home, because if one of these tires pop, we're not getting points. It's going to be almost impossible to soldier this car through the low-speed corners of this Brazil circuit. So Lewis Hamilton far up ahead. At this point, it's actually Leclerc that's catching Verstappen and not Verstappen that's catching Lewis Hamilton, I believe. And it's also Kvyat who is running us down. That's not Kvyat behind us. That's Mazepin, who we lapped a couple of laps ago. But we're going so slow that the wheels of Mazepin is actually being held up by us right now. Part of that's just me holding him up, and we'll see how long it takes for Mazepin to get out of the way for Kvyat if he does, because Kvyat is here, and Mazepin gets out the way almost immediately, and that's going to put Kvyat right on the back of us and make this P4 a little bit of a contest. Tires are holding up, though. That is the good news. I think we're going to be able to bring the car home. It's just a matter of whether we get P4 or P5. Because Kvyat's driving a rocket ship behind us. Lewis Hamilton clinches the championship with a win in Brazil for the 2nd time in his career. Meanwhile, for us, right behind Verstappen and Leclerc, it's a great P4 for the Cookie Monsters, just beating out Kvyat. The strategy call works for the Cookie Monsters, and we get ourselves a P4, which is definitely ahead of where we would have finished without the strategy call. There's no way we would have beaten Kvyat. I'm curious to see where Vettel ended up, because Vettel ended up doing a 2-stop, and Albon actually ended up doing a 2-stop as well. As you see Lewis Hamilton celebrating his 7th Drivers' Championship. Albon, you guys may have noticed, was on the soft compound tires while, the pit sequence was going on. So Albon ended up 2-stopping, and yeah, not smart by Red Bull at all. So I don't think Albon finished in the points, so there might be some interesting points finishers in this one, including Raikkonen hauling in that Renault to a P5. It's going to be fun to see Kimi in Season 2 of this thing in the Renault, man, because he might be able to help that Renault team develop and help Kimi and Ocon become legitimate contenders in this one, because with the patch that is coming out, Racing Point should be in the legitimate mix for best car in the entire grid with Mercedes and Red Bull. Ferrari might drop off, but our Cookie Monster is starting to get there. For our McLaren and Renault, they should be looking good for Season 2. AlphaTauri's been looking good, especially with the way Kvyat's driving and the boost that Pierre Gasly should be getting in the patch. The patch is actually going to be applied in the next race in Abu Dhabi, so we're actually going to be able to check that one out soon to see how it affects things, how things look before the patch and after the patch. But for now, we look at the Constructors' Championship, which is still a toss-up right now. Because Bottas retired out of the race, Ferrari is able to stay within the gap and take the fight to Mercedes. As you guys see, Leclerc and Vettel, they're fighting for P2. We're fighting both the Red Bull drivers, so that's going to be a battle to look at going into the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Claire, what do you got?
Work out there today. Let's have your thoughts. Did you struggle to get through all that traffic today?
I can't really say so, man. We worked our traffic pretty well, but our traffic was like Williams and Haas's as opposed to Racing Points and Renaults.
You're beating all expectations. Would you say we all underestimated you?
Yeah, for the 21st time, Claire. Yeah, you guys did.
How do you think this team will be feeling after that result?
Pretty good. They got a P5. They got a top 5, and I'm assuming Gasly got points too, so they got to be happy.
Appreciate your time.
I actually don't remember where Gasly finished. Not really my concern. We're not really fighting anybody in the constructors right now. The Cookie Monsters are solidly in P4 thanks to mainly the points we have accumulated this season. So we're just, right behind Red Bull, Ferrari, and Mercedes. So once again, we're stacking up money. We're not spending any money until the off season and season 2. So we're just trying to stack it up and kind of divide and conquer once the final race ends here in Abu Dhabi. So we're going to fast forward this final week here. We actually have one upgrade coming in to, actually it's 2 upgrades. We had a failed upgrade that had to be done for tire wear. Now we're going to try to get okay, I thought we had one more upgrade. Actually, I think we applied for it. I think we applied for a gearbox upgrade, durability department. So I think that's actually being worked on after the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. So for now, we do have the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix up ahead after the simulation. Before the final week, you guys see how the performance chart is looking, which is interesting because Ferrari and Racing Point are actually going to pretty much swap spots once the patch comes in. Racing Point's going to be the 3rd best team, and Ferrari, I think they're going to drop behind ourselves and AlphaTauri. So the Scuderia AlphaTauri is actually going to be ahead of the Scuderia Ferrari. Yeah, no, I didn't make a mistake in editing. We are straight into the race here in Abu Dhabi. I'm not playing games with this one because, well, I did play this game, and I didn't play it well. The Abu Dhabi Grand Prix did not go well for us, and since it's the final race of the season and there's literally nothing on the line besides the Constructors Championship, I felt like I didn't need to put up a whole video on this race. It just felt inconsequential. So on the very first lap, we've already screwed up. We've sent, I think that's Mazepin, out of the way, and it's actually going to bring out a full course safety caution. So yeah, that was fantastic work there by us. And we got damage here because everybody braked up and I had no idea. So that helped our race out a lot. We did pit under the safety car, so we were actually in the lead at one point in this race, believe it or not, but it never really got any better for us. Once we pit, we were doing a 2-stop here. We're still doing a 2-stop, so yeah, you see we come out the pits, we're in like P15. It never gets better. Right? We're going to fast forward to the last lap where I think I'm in P19, just ahead of the Williams, and someone retired in this race. Don't know who. Lewis Hamilton wins again. Yahoo. And I think we actually have damage right now, so like we're not too far off of these guys, but we have damage, and at this point I just said screw it. I was trying to catch up to Giovinazzi, I think. I don't know. I think I just wanted to get this over with, get this season over with. I'm looking forward to season 2, man. We're going to have a brand new paint scheme on this thing, a brand new livery, whatever you want to call it. Tires are not looking great, just in case you wanted to know. Wings a little bit dinged up, not too much. I thought it was worse than that, but I mean, it's not great, but whatever, bro. We finished P19. So be it. So we get a not so great result. I think Sainz actually brought home points in this final race. So the Cookie Monsters continue a pretty long streak of scoring points. I think every race after Japan, we scored points. So that's like a 4 or 5 race streak to end the season. So that's actually pretty good for us. It's got to be the longest we put together besides like maybe the mid-season stretch we had where we're getting like podiums and stuff like that. Those weird races we had in like Austria and France and all that. But, yeah, so you see Lewis once again doing donuts here. He's still celebrating his championship that he clinched last week. Sainz, what do you get, P6? Damn, Carlos. Way to put me to shame. So Carlos was faster than me all weekend. Our car is good. Our car is a top 10 car at this point. I just wasn't a top 10 driver. So, yeah, Carlos got P6. Like, hell of a job, my guy. Kvyat, it looks like got podium? Like, I don't know what the hell they put in Daniel Kvyat's Cheerios, man. But that dude. They got it. I don't know. They got to inspect that guy because he literally outperforms himself every single week in this My Team thing. I don't know what the hell. I don't know if everybody else's Kvyat does this or it's just mine that's just cracked out of his mind. But you see the finances one more time adding up before we end this season. We are going to be having easily over 10 mil in our deposit. We're actually at 13 mil, and that doesn't even include the end of season bonuses. Remember, we had a sponsor sign at the start of the season that we are going to get an end-of-season reward from because it was something like finish in the top 10 5 times, like score constructor points 5 times. I don't know what the hell it was, but we easily did it. So now, one more thing to take care of before the end of this video. One more major plot hole. the driver's market. Remember this? We were saving up money potentially for someone big, or we could bring home Carlos Sainz once again. Well, I said that Sainz pretty much got his job after the U.S. and after Mexico. I said Sainz did well enough. And Sainz only did better in these final 2 races in Brazil, and especially in Abu Dhabi, to bring home that 6th place, completely showing me up. So it would be kind of silly if we paid multi-million dollars extra just to bring in a different driver when Sainz has been doing more than good enough for us. There are some interesting options we could bring in. You know, a young guy like George Russell or Lando Norris. We could bring in a vet like Sergio Perez. We could bring in Kvyat, because Kvyat, even though his ratings don't say it, the dude's freaking fast. But first things first, we're negotiating with Carlos Sainz. Sainz is the guy I want to bring back to this team ultimately. He's like the perfect teammate to have, man. You can't do any worse than Sainz, man. That's every team that Sainz has been on in F1. They pretty much have it. Like, he's the perfect guy to have on your team. So I'm not gonna give him the low ball. I'm not gonna give him too much money. I'm gonna work it in the middle and see how it goes. I hope I don't screw this up. Sainz, please sign with us. I would have paid extra money. Hold on a second. All right, good. All right, good. I would have hated myself if I lowballed him by like $300,000, which is nothing compared to the amount of money we have right now, and and we didn't get him. So we have $7 million to spare after we re-sign Carlos Sainz. Remember, we don't have to pay the buyout fee like we had to get Carlos Sainz. Don't worry about that press conference with Will Buxton. He literally asked me the same questions he asked in the previous press conference, like literally the same ones verbatim. So I don't even want to show that to you guys. Literally a waste of time. So one upgrade left. We're going to upgrade our sponsor relationships. So we're going to try to get our team acclaim up for Season 2. We're going to have to get that gearbox fixed. Hold on. Before we end this video, guys, what are we doing with this gearboxing? Because we're about to shut down shop for the winter. Okay. I'll see you guys in Season 2 with a new gearbox. Like, nice, guys. One more failed upgrade for the end of the season. Sure, why not? So, now that we get to the end of the season, let's get ourselves some money, and let's move on to Season 2. I'm going to leave you guys with a couple of lingering plot lines, like the driver's market, how our car's going to look in Season 2, all that stuff. What we actually upgrade with the money we're about to get, I'm not going to do in this video. But, yeah, it's pretty much going to do it for this one. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, not only this video, but this entire first season of the My Team series, you know, just having some fun out here, messing around, and doing some good things with the Cookie Monsters, you know, just chilling out here. So, yeah, leave a like if you guys enjoyed what you guys saw today and for the entire season as we conclude a P7 in the championship. We actually lost out to both of the Red Bulls. Not too surprising there. Either way, a great P7 for us, a P13 for Sainz, and, yeah, leave a like in the video if you guys enjoyed what you guys saw today. Subscribe for more F1 2020 My Team videos. I will catch you guys next time. Thank you, as always, for watching, and if you come back next time, you might see what's under the sheets.